How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking with Dean. It's a new show, you know, whatever. I'm here talking with video game people. What do you mean by that? Well, these guys are in a video game. It's called the Untouchable. What? Yes, and here I have Mallory Woods and Francis Pineda. How's it going, gentlemen?
It's going great. It's going great.
Great. Man, I never thought I'd interview video game people. I stop me if that's bad.
No, not at all.
You guys were in the video game. How does it feel?
Brett, I'll defer to you first.
All right. Well, it was good,
instructor,
right? Oh yeah. Well, so this game. So you're right. There aren't a lot of actual video game people because they're usually just stylized characters that are developed, and obviously when Mortal Kombat came out, they're like, oh, let's take real people and let's make them into characters. Well, the Untouchable did the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so the Untouchable took real people, but they took real martial artists, digitized them, did all of our moves and stuff like that. So and it was great. I mean, it's interesting because I'm a child of the 80s, and I grew up playing all these video games, and next thing you know, like, oh, check it out, that's me. And we would always joke, too, amongst each other. It's like, oh, all right, oh, Mallory beat me up, and now I get to beat up, so and so, and let's get Carmichael. And it's pretty cool, and to actually put a character into into a real person. Interesting, surreal, definitely at first, especially when the game started getting big, and we saw ourselves on in magazine ads and in the video arcade, and we filmed a commercial. I mean, it was something. It was pretty cool. It's
to kind of follow up on that. It's funny. The cool part is great, but it did involve a lot of work. There was a lot of things. There was a learning curve, literally, and a big shout out to Travis Riggs, who is the creator and producer of Creative Edge Studios, and who gave us some of the content that I sent you behind the scenes and everything. It was a learning curve when you don't inherently know how to create a video game like this. Like, how do you do it? What do you do? And Travis had been in video production for, a long time. He's also a tech nerd and everything. So he knows a lot about technology, but when the idea came to like, how do we shoot the video game? How do we do this? There was literally starting from scratch. But he figured out, literally cracked the code and had us going in there. There were a lot of things, and most people may not know there were two Untouchables. There was the Untouchable 1, and there was the Untouchable 2. Unfortunately, I think there were some key issues in terms of getting the sequel out. But in terms of the technology we used for the sequel, it was so much better. We were in a warehouse that we had painted green. So, like, perfect technology. This is a green screen behind me. You can see it between my fingers. But we were trying to figure out the perfect angle for the camera and the lighting that was needed and what speed you could move at. A lot of times we were doing our techniques, and, Travis would be sitting back there like, hey, can we do that? Can we do it slower? And in martial arts, you always taught to do it fast, fast, fast. And then now you're being told to do it slow. It's like, well, I'm throwing this leg up. It's kind of tough to do it slow. But you had to find out how to do things like that. The sequel allowed us to move it real time, and it actually allowed the hardware to automatically cookie cut us out. The Untouchable 1, all of that animation you see was cut out by hand by some very talented artist. Mm-hmm. But it was really cool. You had a lot of my friends there, Francis, who's actually my instructor. Francis taught me Taekwondo, and he also taught me how to snowboard. Another fun fact there too. So, but going to him to actually learn everything, and I think I'm one of your very few students who fought. In terms of fighting and winning, tournaments, et cetera, mm-hmm. Out there. Okay, but it was really cool and different experience.
Yeah. So Francis is like, is he your senpai or sensei or?
So we have instructor. Senpai's Japanese, if I remember right, Francis.
Yeah.
Am I right on that? Mm-hmm. I was saying, if I have my terminology right, sensei senpai.
So here's our history.
Yeah, let's take it back.
Right. So if we take it back, I actually Mallory and I know each other like pre-martial arts back in the Commodore 64 BBS days. And I actually at the time I had a BBS called the Dojo, and my alias was the Karate Kid. And anyway, kind of through the whole gaming scene, we were in high school at the time. We met each other, and I hacked a couple games, and we traded and stuff like that. And we just kind of got to know each other in that small community. You know, this is all pre-internet. This is all through modems and this and that. And Mallory was Shadow Knight, and I was the Karate Kid. So anyway, we were really good friends through gaming, and then he went to Bowie State University.
Correct.
And I opened a school in Glendale, Maryland, which was close to there. Mm-hmm. And I'd been teaching martial arts since I was like assisting 15, 16, 17 years old. I ran a school. Since he was so close, he went ahead and he started taking classes from me. So I started him off, and he learned some weapons. He was a great student, you know. I eventually stuck with that school. I actually taught there all through high school and through a couple of years of college, and then it got to the point where I had to let it go because I was trying to get into med school and classes were getting hard. And then Mallory went on and he finished his journey, and then he actually became a very accomplished fighter on the circuit. But I was his first instructor. But we were friends before then, and then fast forward again, somehow, and I probably heard about the game through you because you knew Travis.
Correct.
I was like, oh yeah, I want to get involved. So I sent Travis a bunch of pictures and stuff like that, and offered my services as a choreographer. So I helped to kind of put some of the stuff together, and then especially for the first game, I supplied a lot of talent too.
That's right.
So because he wanted to do real martial artists, and at the time I had some close connections and some students also that were great competitors. So
to also, just if you think of this as, I see the Marvel posters and a branch of the timeline. When I was in school, when I was in Bowie State, Francis had mentioned before Star Trek. I was trying to catch up on Star Trek because I missed a bunch in my first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year. So my junior year is when I started martial arts, and I was catching up. And I saw it was a BBS. It was a BBS. And we're in Amiga 500, 2000 territory because that's what I used all through college. And I saw someone that posted, hey, does anyone have any high quality VHS, that was the technology at the time, tapes of Star Trek? I'm making a game. And there's this guy named Espionage. And I started talking to him, and that's Travis. So I was like,
that's Travis.
I was like, hey, I've got a rack of tapes of stuff I'm catching up on. I said, I'll bring them to you. Where are you at? I'm in Herndon, Virginia. So I actually drove out one night from Bowie State all the way to Herndon.
That's an hour.
And I bring him these tapes, and we just started talking. We just sat down and we're talking like, hey, do you know such and such? And we find out we know some of the same people through their aliases, like the Karate Kid, Espionage, this guy. And he was into BBSing too. And he was like, hey, it's always been my objective to make a martial arts game. Oh. And it started flowing from there. Eventually he got to the point where he was able to
small world.
Yeah, just start and make this game. And as Francis mentioned, he was plugged in. He got Carmichael Simon, who was also another student of his, who was one of the absolute goats in terms of sport karate history, in terms of everything. He had Jon Valera, who John is with 8711 stunt group.
Ooh, John blew up, man.
He literally, I went to interview him one day, and I said, John, I'd like to, take a half-hour interview. He says, listen, I just rolled off a set from there. I'm having Christmas with my daughters in November because I'm spending most of the December doing John Wick 2, and I got to go to Morocco tomorrow. So this guy was literally, he is one of those guys now that is behind the scenes doing stunts and directing stuff. So this talent group, that's just a drop in the bucket, just a taste. We haven't even gotten to Cynthia Rothrock or
Larry
Lamb, or just
David Douglas, Sean,
Larnell Stovall, who directs Teen Titans episodes and everything. There's so much talent in that game. That's that just really has been untouched in the Untouchable that you could talk about.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Oh, look at this. This looks like a gallery of people.
This was from the sequel, but
I think I know what picture this is.
That is the who's who right there.
Huh.
Right. Oh yeah, man.
I see you in the cut, Mallory. I was looking for you.
Speaking of the back, that's right.
It's looking all sneaky.
The stealth mode, man. That's what X was. It's funny if you were actually looking at this photo. David Douglas with the brown hat on.
Oh, he's in like
he's in
commercial.
Every commercial. He's I always say he's the safe black guy to cast because he was in a State Farm commercial. He was in last year's Super Bowl commercial about play it safe with Tracy Morgan. Like, if you want to play it safe, you do this, that, and the other. David Douglas is in that. I mean, you've got so Arnold Chung is kneeling with the orange wraps around his shin. Oh. Arnold was another great forms competitor. He literally is in Hawaii now. I go there next week, and I was like, "Hey, you're like right where I'm going to be. Are you going to be there on Monday?" And he's like, "No, I got to go out. I got to corner Uriah Hall for a boxing match that he's going to do this weekend." He works with a bunch of MMA guys. I got to give there's Cynthia Rothrock right in the middle. She did that right after having a kid.
Yes,
if I remember right.
Yes.
Yeah. What about the guy with the flamboyant attire on? Way to the left.
Way to the left.
In the green?
In the green? What was his name? I'm trying to remember his name. He did an interesting.
No, not the green. The flamboyant attire with the hat and the.
Oh, that's David Douglas.
That's David Douglas. That's Double D. That's David Douglas.
Yeah, he was very well known on the circuit. Very amazing martial artist, but he kind of hit it big. I mean. He's on screen. I mean, he's on like, what is it, a Kia or Subaru, or he's on these commercials all the time.
Is he? Okay.
I'll definitely, for follow up and to give you some links for other content, I can send you some stuff of. I never saw the same David Douglas form twice. He always did something.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Absolutely incredible.
Well, hey, going back to the game itself, how many would you say, like, putting, how many hours you put in the day just doing posing?
Oh my gosh.
How long does that take to get the right? I know you got to go through at least 40, right?
so there's a couple things into filming this, because you had to be able to do both sides, right? So you had to be very symmetrical. So some of the outfits had to be kind of adjusted so that you were the same down the middle. Mm-hmm. So you weren't too much on one side, because you're fighting this side and you're fighting that side. You have to look the same,
right?
So we had to make
just a perfect example of that is Arnold's. He's got some scripting writing down his left side right there. He would have to have the same on the other side of the shirt,
right?
Well, because when he turned, it would be blank. So that's just to really just wrap that up, show you that was something that had to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, you wanted to make sure that, so everyone had to have a fighting stance like this. Where you just, that way your idle stance, you're just kind of doing the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. So that you do your moves and then you come back to that. You do your moves and you come back to that. So, but again, it had to be almost exact so they could loop it, right? Yeah. So you had to do a punch, come right back to that. Do a kick, come right back to that. It was so that took a lot of repetition. And I mean, if anything, that's part of what I had to choreograph, is to make sure that they were able to do a sweep and then come right back to the stance, and going right back to exactly where you were, especially after doing a jump or whatever, that was kind of challenging. I mean, that took some time for sure.
One thing to mention on that, if you think of an XY plane, so you go and do a tornado kick. If you got closer to the camera, you would get bigger, just as my hand is getting bigger. Mm-hmm. So you had to make sure you stayed on the same line. Imagine trying to do every move, but staying just like on a balance beam. So that if you're moving forward, if you're moving this way, it's fine. But if you go backwards, you get smaller. If you go forward, you get bigger. You had to really adjust for that. And a lot of times someone would do the perfect move and they would try to land it and they would forget to go back to their stance. And it's like, we can't use that. You got to do it over. Yep. And over again. And let's not forget, you're under, I do believe Travis got some like industrial lights. And those lights were hot. You're sweating. You were literally sweating bullets underneath there. And
I was like, why?
yeah,
I was like, why did they bother put makeup on us?
you just,
We're just sweating it off.
absolutely. I mean, and after a while, you think about it. After a while, if you did a move in which you did a sweep, and you need to, so you're laying down, you got swept, you're laying down. Now you have to get up off the ground, right? But after you've laid down on the ground, you started to sweat in that specific spot. And now trying to get up is kind of hazardous because you're slipping, you're falling, you're tripping. And this is concrete. It's very unforgiving.
Yeah.
So a lot of challenges.
Could you guys do flat back bumps all day, or?
Once we saw, I would say this. So you were responsible for the moves. You know, everybody was there like, hey, do what's best for you. Like, for example, I fight right. I fight southpaw. I fight with my right side forward. So I did all my strength stuff so that my right leg, his best could show off that. When it came to the left, I just prayed and winged it. But when we saw that if you had to do a drop fall and if you land, like this, but you really saw how hard that concrete was if somebody went before you, and then you really might reevaluate what you planned on doing. It's like, maybe I don't want to do that because that splat sounded kind of hard.
Yeah, so, and with you guys saying earlier, like you had to go slow and everything, well, and I don't know what kind of cameras were being used where it caught like 120 per second. Or
the first game only had, didn't the first game only have one camera?
It was one fixed camera.
One fixed camera. The second game had
a jib. He had a jib.
Yeah, he had a jib. Yeah,
man. But it's there were some times where you would do something, and you would consider like, maybe I shouldn't do this. It's a little bit risky. In fact, Harry, who has on the yellow jacket in the upper right hand corner of this picture, Harry. He was doing a kind of a whip leg takedown, kind of like a where he's looping around. That's a much younger me. This is a much younger me. Way pre-gray.
This is when we were behind that green screen there.
Yeah, and like imagine, like I would not be able to do that today. Trying to hold that, my kneecaps would shoot off.
Oh really, man?
Oh yeah, my knees are not.
Dude, hold on. What year was this game?
It said it came out in 2000.
Came out in 2000, but we filmed it in the 90s.
Filmed it.
No, it was 95 because I first cut my hair in 1995, and I said, "Forget it, I'm not growing hair anymore." I just that was it. That was it. The last time I had hair.
So this game was being made in 95 and came out in 2000. That's okay.
Yep.
One unique thing about this game, it said the box actually says 98.
Or Windows 98, or just 1998?
No, 1998, Creative Edge. But the thing about this game is this was actually known as the first fighting game on Mac.
Yes.
Right.
Because it had like the Mac, the Mac OS, and it's right here. It says like accelerated for Power Mac. Yeah. There were no martial arts games for Mac at all. So yeah, we were in the Macworld magazine and full page ad and everything. It was the first game for Mac. So the initial platform was on Mac, and then it was also ported over to PC. Mm-hmm. And then I guess this is the PC box, right, Mal? Yeah.
Yep.
Or Windows 95 and Windows 98.
Yes.
Yep. This one's still shrink wrap, dude.
Yeah, I still got mine. Mine's still shrink wrap too.
And then it was ported onto a stand-up game, and I think let me see if I can remember this properly. It was out the same time Mortal Kombat 4.
I think it would have been 3 or 4.
3 or 4 came out, and it actually had rated higher because, well, one thing I think they said Mortal Kombat was too violent. Mm-hmm. At the time, it was just way too, and that's what it's known for, right? But this was more appealing to a broader range of players. Plus, with the martial artists and the better realism, it actually had caught on. So I don't know if it's like an official better than Mortal Kombat or if it was just kind of like a player's choice kind of thing. But I just remember when Travis told us that I was kind of flabbergasted. I was like, wow, that's cool. right? Because Mortal Kombat was, I mean, that was the GOAT back then.
Yeah,
of
right.
That was what you wanted to do.
Fighting games. And we did, and didn't, and Travis took us to a local arcade. Yeah, when we saw.
That's right, where the game was there.
Yeah, when we saw it, I was like, wow, that's cool.
Oh, you saw the cabinet all lit up and everything?
We saw the cabinet,
Oh, yeah.
and it had the Khan sidekick on the side of the cabinet. It was something else.
That is absolutely true. One of the
Where's
things
that in your office? Where's the?
yeah, where's the full stack? Actually, Travis still has that in his basement.
He still has it.
He still has it in his basement. One of the things that I did with Travis is there was I'd never heard of this before because I wasn't in that industry, but he said, hey, do you want to come with me to Atlanta? We're going to go to a video game show, and down here you can go and you could buy or, rent cabinet games. So like if you own a Chuck E. Cheese, you could go down there and say, oh, these newer games are coming out. But you could also buy games like there would be sit down games like Mario Kart, where you would sit down or you would like ride a horse or you would do this, that, and the other. So it was this big convention center. All the floor are just all video games. Something like I had always dreamed of. And I remember I would get there for the convention early. And for the first hour, there would be no customers coming in, but everything was on free play. So I like got through House of the Dead 1 or 2. It's just playing because, I'm sitting here. We had a booth there. Creative Ed Software had a booth. And I was in character so that people could kind of come by and take pictures and everything else. Unfortunately for X, all that was a black tank top and some black pants and black shoes. That was it. Oh, shades and the shades. That's all. I didn't have to do anything else. If Francis was down there, he's been bare chested all day, in his con outfit.
Soaked in oil.
Soaked in oil, right? See, you also didn't know that. That's
body
also
oil.
I didn't apply anything to him. Just, but it was kind of cool because people would come by and they would say, when can we buy this? So who's it going to be distributed by through and everything else. So that was kind of cool to go to. And I don't even know how long has E3 been going on. How many years is it? It would be.
Oh gosh,
it's a while. But I couldn't tell you.
You could go to and view and see games that are coming out and everything else like that. So that was real cool to do. We also went to there's a tournament in New York where we had a lot of the cast go to.
Was it a fighting tournament?
It was a fighting tournament, and I want to say it was Empire State Nationals off the top of my mind. Joy Santa Maria, if I'm right, Francis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Empire.
So we went there. Jon Valera. Jon won. He actually used the opening song from Untouchable for his music.
Oh, that's right.
And he literally, he's got his music. He's going to go out there and do a swarm. And Travis said, "Hey, anybody chance would you be able to switch it with this song?" And Jon listens to it. He's like, he's doing his form. He's like, "Yeah, I can make this work. All right,
I can make it work."
He literally just changed it on the fly and goes and does it and wins. But that's just how talented he is. If like you go look him up, Jon Valera. I'm looking at his IMDb page.
Oh yeah. That's the main guy right on the poster and everything.
Correct.
He was the Untouchable.
He was the boss.
Yep.
Yes.
The boss.
The boss.
Yes.
Just to name a few. 2023 stunts for Aquaman and Lost Kingdom, stunt coordinator for Blue Beetle, stunt for Sweet Girl, stunt fight coordinator for John Wick 3. Doing utility stunts.
Travis, was this his baby? Because it's like producer, cinematography, casting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Travis had a vision. He from having that technology background and also having the background in videography, he had the best of both worlds, and he saw it through to the end. He also, it's late for us, but I probably could call Travis right now. He's probably up.
He's probably up.
He's
a hard worker.
Like 2-3 in the morning every night. Takes one night to crash and just go to sleep.
All right, hold on. I got something because hit the power of having Zoom and also having multiple screens and being able to share the screens is to be able to embarrass people.
Oh boy!
Mallory Woods versus Jason Holmes, 2005
Battle of Atlanta.
And here we have Mallory Woods in the black. Actually, you're wearing Charlie.
Charlie Lee,
working for Charlie.
I was teaching for Charlie Lee at that time. And just going and do my thing. Actually, I remember doing this match. Jason and I elbowed each other accidentally right in the eyeball, man. Right in the cheekbone. There's going to be a clash, and we both are just like, man, that hurt. I look over at him.
Did you get that? Did you get
I
that
think
too?
I did.
Yes.
Yep, should have got the sidekick. There's Charlie actually centering the judge. I'm surprised nobody had a problem with me fighting with his logo on the back.
Oh.
I'm center judging.
Well, I mean, he is the commissioner of NASCA. You know?
He would call it straight. I do know that. Yeah, this was on stage.
Yep.
And let me see. I think yeah, because if you fell down, or if you fell down, or if you went out of bounds, you automatically got a point. Okay, so I win that. Boom.
Yeah, kind of like sumo wrestling, huh?
Point fight is a little bit different. It's really like the first to hit, and then judges have to call and agree. So it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, when I teach point, like to kind of explain it to my students, I say it's like fencing.
Yep.
Right.
That's a great analogy.
Very specific strikes and very specific areas that you can strike. And then after that, it's like fencing. It's like a game of tag.
Oh,
boom.
Fencing.
So
okay.
Yeah, fencing. So it's not a full contact, but it is based a lot more on speed. Mm-hmm. Right. You've got to be fast. Right. And don't get me wrong. I mean, point fighters are hard hitters, and in the black belt division, contact, I mean, you can hit hard.
You have to make contact.
You have to make contact. But yeah, in point fighting, it's a very speed based, very strategic type of fighting. So yeah, you can.
So one of the things also is that when you do learn that specific style for fighting, is that you don't want to be touched whatsoever. So when you get guys that learn how to fight like that, and then they actually go on to more professional style, it usually gives a lot of people fits because you're not there when they throw techniques. If you look up Raymond Daniels, who's probably one of the best known point fighters that was out there, he's fighting for Karate Combat now, but he's fought for Glory. He's fought for Bellator MMA and Bellator kickboxing. Got a belt in Bellator kickboxing.
Oh, Mallory Woods, you
fought Raymond before.
You fought Raymond in 2000.
Raymond. Yes, I have.
Dang. Look, Dean, you YouTube Mallory. I'm looking at like, I don't know, 20, 30 videos of Mallory.
I was YouTubing Mallory, and I got some good stuff, but I'm not saying it wasn't good stuff that I saw either. Yeah, we'll get into that. But okay, Travis, and you guys were the martial arts choreographers. So did you guys teach everybody what to do, and did the females have like a fighting background, or
well, I mean, the thing is choreographer is it's kind of loose, right? Because the thing is like they're all accomplished martial artists to begin with.
Okay.
Right. So if anything, it was kind of like stay on that mark, or do this move, or sometimes they need help brainstorming, right? Because I was like, hey, I need another combination, or what kick can we do, or what block. So, and we didn't want to have like the same block from like every single person. So we would have to be unique, right? But I mean, yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of people, I mean, I would say they did a big bulk of their own movements on their own, because, like I said, they're all. I mean, I'm talking accomplished world champions. I mean, these guys, they knew their stuff.
And a lot of times it was just like giving a little slight nudge. It's kind of just like, you knew what talent they have, and then on the spot, it's like, okay, give me a combination. They're like, I don't have anything. It's like, well, just act like you're fighting. Your body will do what you've trained. And then, like a lot of times, like just move around and just try to do something like, okay, just what you did. Now break that down and do that in a combination on camera. And sometimes just prodding people in the direction to kind of help.
Yeah, because you're right. I mean, it is a little different, the movements and the angling and the symmetry is a little different, for the game. Now, again, and embarrassing Mallory again. Now, Mallory was put in a situation where he had to take people that were not martial artists one bit and had to teach them martial arts, or at least fake it, with just a room full of women in bikinis. Explain, Mal.
Wait. Are we leading up into bikini karate babes?
We are fully and in bikini karate babes country.
All right. Yes. Go ahead. Yes.
So Travis had another idea to make a spoof on the fighting games that are out there because one of the if you look at any female characters in any type of video game
alive.
scenario, you're like, okay, this is not going to work. Like this, no one would fight in that. Look at the armor. Look at the way armor is on a you know what I'm talking about for
I know, yeah.
For an RPG. You know, you're like, why does she have to have boob armor? Like, what I don't get this. But so Travis said, let's make a spoof of this, right? So he got a bunch of models, and he said some of them, like there were like 3 or 4 of them that had martial arts experience, and the other 12, there were a lot, did not. So it was like, okay, what can we work with? Like, it was literally interviewing people and saying, do you have any special talents? Hey, I'm a gymnast. Okay, great. We could work with that. I'll make your moves kind of around what your talent is in gymnastics. I'm very flexible. Okay, all right, we'll work with that too. I'm a dancer. Okay, we'll pattern your moves like that. Because the ladies there, and they were all eager to learn. Like, how can we make this work for your talent? What was even more challenging than the Untouchable is that Travis wanted to incorporate a throw and a grab system. So if you're doing this, and yes, the ladies were in bikinis during this time, if you're doing this, you have to figure out a way safely to have someone grab someone and the other person throw or get thrown so that they could either land. And a lot of stuff we did like off the screen, like me doing this, I'll take my phone, I just go whip. And it looks like I threw it off the screen, but my phone is actually right here because I still have it in my hand. But by making that motion, it looks like you were thrown, and you kind of go to a little quick movie, a little quick clip, and then you go back. And that way it was a lot safer for the girls who didn't know how to break fall. A lot of them, had never done anything like that before. But it was a challenge. You had to do it quickly. You only had a certain amount of time where the entire cast was together, teaching everybody, getting them to memorize their moves. I had to write everything down. And then I had to demonstrate for a lot of them. And then as time went on, their creativity started going out like, oh, wait, I could do this. So I'd like to change. Okay, great. Let's, change all that up. And then we had to shoot it. And then, there was takes and retakes and everything else. But BKB was fun. There were a lot of talented young ladies out there that did come out and participate in the game. And they had fun with it. Travis actually ran a website that had a huge following in terms of like just a bulletin, not a bulletin board, but like a message board. And there were a lot of people like, I want to buy this game. A lot of people overseas, like, I want to buy it. How can I get it? How, when is part 2 coming out? So on and so forth. And
it went all the way up to 3, right? Or
there was always up to 3, and 3 would have been, if I remember right, a mix of, once you got the engine together and you had the characters, you can plug and play, you can swap characters in and out. Mm-hmm. And the idea was to do it to 3. I don't remember what the release date, if that at all, was for 3, but being involved in 1 and 2 was fun. There's also there was a rapper that saw the Untouchable and wanted to have himself and his crew incorporated with that and contacted Travis, and I coordinated for that.
You're talking about Mr. Lion, right?
Yes, Mad Lion.
Yes. And he had the idea of, what is it, Predator or Prey?
Predator or Prey. Yeah, I have a terrible faking Jamaican accent.
Yeah. Oh, he was with KRS, wasn't he? Mad Lion?
Now you remember. Now you remember.
Yeah, man, KRS, yes. I like the teacher, yes.
He was fun to work with. It was really interesting to work with someone kind of in that industry. He had one of his manager was there, and so they either flew in or drove in from New York. I don't remember. And we were explaining how we're going to shoot, and he looked at his manager like, "We need to get some cash." And he was like, "Oh," he like calls the record company, and then he just literally goes and picks up a couple grand and just like brings it in. Like, okay, we'll get some food, we'll do this, that, and the other. So just imagine like living in that lifestyle was just completely different to me. Like,
yeah,
wait a minute, he made a phone call, and he comes back with like $2,000 in cash. That's insane. Where can I sign up for that?
Right. Is that on the shelf, or was it ever came to fruition?
It came out, if I remember right, it was released with one of his CDs. If memory serves me correct, it was when he released his album. It also came packaged as as a bonus.
Okay, so it wasn't like back in the day they had these things called enhanced CDs that you just put in your CD.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So it was like that, or
it's a good question. I think it was separate. But I know what you mean. Enhanced CD-ROM, it'll have music, and also you can install software on there as
yes,
well, or from there as well.
Yes.
I think it was just a separate one.
So
right.
Kind of bringing it back a little bit. I had just gotten done bringing a bunch of old boxes and crates from my mom's house, and I found my Untouchable box, and I'm just finding this, right? So right here, this is my employment, my contract agreement for the Untouchable.
Contract.
Yes. Like, oh, I have my contract. And then I also found our script, right? Basic moves for characters, and you had to, kind of come up with all the different moves, like the uppercut, the stances, and reactions, like reaction getting hit, stuff like that. And I found this is the cast list right here.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I scanned this. I'll scan it. And I just realized, and then in this folder, I guess I was also working on a tournament also. So I have my flyer for the Super Challenge.
Phil Bruce Super Challenge. Yes.
Well, yeah, Phil and I, so I'm also a tournament promoter too. So yeah, check that out. Man, September 5th, Fairfax Sports Arena.
And you know what? If you want a little banner, I actually fought John at one of those super challenges when John turned 18, his first time in the adult division, and my first tournament as a black belt.
This is crazy. That's crazy. But
John could throw, man.
So I ran tournaments with Phil for 12 years. We did tournaments for 12 years. And then I did 2 tournaments in Canada. I did them all over. And then I did the big Cactus Classic in Arizona right. Also.
Cactus
but
Classic.
Here, this is money right here. I found this. And so Dean, I'm going to send you a limited, actually, to my knowledge, only 3 of these exist in the world. And I'm gonna give you one. This is signed
okay, yeah,
by the entire cast.
Very nice.
And that would have been all the cast that you saw in that picture.
I have a feeling that I got this for a fundraiser, and I sent a bunch out. So I think they all got taken out, but I had 3 left. So Dean, I'm gonna send you one of these. I'll send you some Untouchable swag, because as I'm going through all this stuff, I'm like, man, check out all the stuff.
Dude, I was looking up prices for that Untouchable game. That must be very rare. Either that or everyone loves it.
It is rare.
It's holding it
is especially now. Like a lot of these guys, I mean, they're big. Larnell Stovall's huge. Jon Valera's huge. Arnold Chon is huge. David Douglas. I mean, again, they were already accomplished martial artists to begin with. Mm-hmm. And some of us, stuck with keeping it a career, or Larry Lamb, they kept martial arts as a career. They're all in entertainment. I have a big school.
You have a big school still running today?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, what's it? Yeah. I wanted to ask this. Did you two meet each other? Because I looked up your information. You're from Virginia, Mallory.
I'm currently in Virginia. I'm originally from Maryland.
Maryland. Okay. So you both met in Maryland?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're high school rivals. He went to Philly High School.
That's right.
And I went to Oxon Hill High School, and those are high school rivals.
High school rivals.
Oh, these are the best stories, because I always talk to people like in Houston, Sterling High School, such and such high school, bumping heads, and they're cool in the end. Yeah.
That is absolutely the truth. It's funny how it works out like that,
It just works out.
It is.
It just works out. But yeah.
So were you guys like rude to each other when you saw each other on the field?
Nah, that was all stupid high school stuff. It was right. If I remember right, Francis, I don't know if you remember this or not. So I used to work at a restaurant called the Black Eyed Pea. I was waiting tables, and you came in one day, and it was either lunch or dinner, and you had just told me, "Hey, I just got this new school, and it's in Glendale, Maryland." Oh, that's down the street from Bowie. And I kept thinking, like, maybe I'll take him up on it. Maybe I'll take him up on it. And eventually I did. But if he hadn't come in and I hadn't sat in my section, I might not have known.
That's
I might
true.
totally not known it. None of this would have happened.
You may have never had a career in martial arts. That's interesting. And the thing too, which is kind of interesting, is that, so, there are obviously lots of different martial arts schools, but I'm with the Jhoon Rhee Institute, and Jhoon Rhee Taekwondo. I mean, Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee, he's credited for bringing Taekwondo to the United States, set camp in Washington, D.C., 12 schools in the area, probably produced the most champions than any other school in the sport karate field. Right? Mallory's old boss, Charlie Lee, being one of them, being huge. But anyway, so my school is at Jhoon Rhee in Glendale, but Mallory's dad is actually a very accomplished person from the Jhoon Rhee Institute also. So it's crazy because he kind of kept in the same school, and man, I'll tell you, it was an honor. It was awesome because your dad would come by for your belt graduations, and I'm like, oh, this guy's OG.
That's right, and he would.
That's right.
Because of that, Grandmaster Rhee knew who I was, and I would always, I would have that in because of my dad. And I remember specifically planning. I had gotten my white belt, and I was going to go home at Thanksgiving and tell my dad, because I was in school. I didn't want him to know until because he wanted me to start when I was like 6 or 7. And, I wasn't interested at the time. I would go to the school. I would go to Marlow Heights, which was one of your original schools, where you learned. And I would go up there and I would sit and I would watch class, but I had no interest in taking it. And eventually I had to wait until I was 19, way down the line, and then said, okay, I think I want to do this. But I didn't have any interest when I was younger. But I think one of the things that the great thing, whenever I interview someone, I ask them, I said, so what is one of the best gifts that the martial arts has given you? For me, it was learning and traveling to tournaments with my dad, seeing him reconnect with older friends and people he competed against and knew, and introducing them to me. And also he would always, every time we would drive back from New York or from Virginia Beach or wherever we would go, it was like a debrief. He was like, you did good today, but I want you to do this more. I want you to work on this more.
Nice.
And eventually it was one day, I remember I was warming up at a tournament in DC, and my dad was like, you need to warm up. And I was like, Dad, I'm a clobber everybody here. I'm smoke everybody. He says, no, you need to warm up. So I did what he asked, and I started warming up, and I'm throwing kicks at him, and I'm pulling him, and he stopped it. I remember I had to pull this kick. I thought I was going to kick him right in the head. And he just stops, and he literally bows to me, says, you're a better fighter than I am. He says, do what you need to do. And it was like his way of telling me that, you don't need coaching anymore. And man, I had the biggest head that day. I think I waxed everybody at that tournament, because I just, your dad's just boom. He's patted you on the back and said, all right, you know what? You don't need my help anymore. I'm just going to sit back and watch you do your thing. That was
Nice.
that was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was something else.
So, the man who opened up the school, is he still around?
Unfortunately, he passed. Yeah,
Yes.
he passed. Gosh, what is it, Mal? It's like 3 years now. 3 years ago. Yeah, Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee. He had a bad bout with shingles. Was ultimately what it was. I mean, he was credited. I mean, he was known for a lot of fantastic feats. I was actually just telling my students today that he would do 1,000 push-ups a day. He would do 10 sets of 100 every day, right? And this was when he was like 60 years old, and he was on Good Morning America on the TV show, and he was doing push-ups there. He was on Parade magazine. I mean, he was. There are more magazine covers of him than any other thing. I mean, he is on every magazine cover. Plus on top of that, he's credited for training Bruce Lee. I mean, he trained Bruce Lee, other people, big ones, Tony Robbins, Muhammad Ali. Yeah, he taught him the acupunch. He taught on Capitol Hill for almost 50 years, taught congressmen and senators free lessons. Because of that, I helped him teach. I became good friends with Jesse Jackson Jr. and a lot of other, notable politicians. But he kind of, he was extremely accomplished. Let me tell you, you could Google Jhoon Rhee on YouTube and you will see so much. And he is just an amazing martial artist for sure.
Definitely Google the Jhoon Rhee commercial. Nobody
Jhoon Rhee
Nobody
commercial.
bothers me.
It's like one of those local commercials that are,
It was a local commercial, and as a little throwback, if you've ever watched the show The Americans, great show on I think it was on
WB, I
FX.
think.
No, it was on FX. The Americans is a spy thriller set in the Washington D.C. area in the late 60s into the 70s, where these sleeper Russian agents who were their whole sole purpose was to just integrate in and just act like Americans, and they would be given missions. And the interesting thing about that whole series is they said Russians were always scared of us as we were scared of them. Remember the whole thing about Russia's got this big nuclear arsenal, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. But anyway, during that TV show, they would show authentic commercials that you would see during the time. And the Jhoon Rhee commercial did premiere in that show. I found out about that show because Chung Rhee, who is Jhoon Rhee, Grandmaster Rhee's son, is Nobody Bothers Me Either, little kid, maybe about 4 or 5 at the time when he did the commercial. And he got a call from the producers like, we would like permission to use this commercial in our show. And we were talking one day and I was like, I've never heard of this show before. And I started watching it just for that sole purpose. It's a really great series. But there's a local commercial, Dow USA 1000. Jhoon Rhee is Mike for Right. It's embedded in my head. I remember it. I would see it on TV when I was watching TV as a kid. But it's a local commercial.
Well, that's basically the reason I signed up.
They showed the kid jumping over the motorcycle. You're like, oh man, yeah, I got to get involved in this.
Is this like 80s?
That commercial was early 70s, I think, maybe mid to late 70s.
Okay.
I think that's about right. But you can grab that clip from YouTube and.
All right, I got it up. You want me to share it?
Oh
Yeah,
go
share
for
it. Let's see.
All right.
When you take Jhoon Rhee self-defense, then you too can say, nobody bothers me, nobody bothers me. Call USA 1000. Jhoon Rhee means Mike for Right.
Nobody buys me.
Oh, that's 70s. Yes.
Oh, that's classic. That is gold.
Jhoon Rhee. All right. That is something I'm going to be looking up too. And you mentioned earlier about him training Bruce Lee. Did Bruce graduate and start Jeet Kune Do?
Well, so Bruce Lee had met. So back in the day, back in the 60s, there were only 2 big tournaments, martial arts tournaments in the United States. Only 2. Ed Parker on the West Coast, and he's known for Kempo. And then the Jhoon Rhee Internationals on the East Coast from Grandmaster Rhee. So Bruce Lee would I think they met kind of on that whole net, and he was kind of getting famous and stuff like that. But they just became really good friends, and they started brainstorming a lot. And Bruce Lee would actually come and spend the summers in the Washington D.C. area, and he would be a guest instructor at some of the schools. And it's pretty crazy because I've met people. I was like, oh yeah, I was at this school and Bruce Lee taught me, and my instructor. Oh, there you go.
Hey,
there's a good share right there. Yep. And they had a good trading of ideas, and I think so. Bruce Lee, originally Wing Chun stylist, had developed Jeet Kune Do because he wanted to kind of adapt and kind of modernize the system, make it more practical. Mm-hmm. But in his movies, he's doing primarily Kung Fu until it comes to a sidekick.
Bam.
And this is the kick where he just like hauls through and he kicks a dude through a wall or whatever. Mm. And that is a textbook Taekwondo sidekick. And there you go. and he learned that from Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee, and there you go. Now the thing too.
This is my favorite one, by the way.
The Big Boss. Yes. So Jhoon Rhee was supposed to be in Game of Death, the 3rd floor where there was a Hapkido guy, right?
Is this where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar comes in?
Yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the top floor, right?
Yes.
But the floor before that, I think, was actually intended to be Jhoon Rhee, but I don't know the story behind it, but what's really amazing, and I've seen this, you know, I'm very close with the family, is that there is a set of letters that I've seen that was handwritten from Bruce Lee to Grandmaster Jhoon Rhee on Jeet Kune Do stationery by his hand. And we could have so easily used this for marketing and exploited it, but we never did. But yeah. I've read the letter that said, because of your safety equipment, because he invented safety equipment, you have taken martial arts out of the dark ages, or something like, I want to thank you for teaching me the new and powerful sidekick. And I saw one letter, it was just a poem where that Bruce Lee had written to Grandmaster. I mean, they had a very special friendship
was it like
together.
Poem, or was it like haiku poem?
It was just a poem, yeah.
And don't forget, he was a philosophy major.
He is, oh yeah. Bruce Lee's philosophy, Tao Chi Kung Do is one of my favorite books, but that was something else. But yeah, they had a very, very close history for sure.
If you get just getting deep into that, if you look into in terms of Kung Fu, they have kind of a version of a sidekick. It's much different than a Korean-based Taekwondo sidekick. We're using your quad, your hip, every muscle in your leg. And the difference is what you see Bruce Lee doing to people. And you're like, oh, that guy threw himself the ball. Like, no, the much power he generated, that guy didn't need to jump. Bruce provided all the necessary force needed to that. And it's just the difference in kicks. And yes, you can argue in style and this, that, and the other. And there are differences all through every different flavor and sort of martial arts that has ever been created on how this should be done. Turn your ankle this way, point your toes this way, do this, do that. And I think they tried to even prove that with what's that series on Discovery years ago where they measured a Taekwondo sidekick or a round kick from Muay Thai versus Taekwondo versus this.
I remember that.
I can't remember the name.
I remember that as well, but it was something along the lines of medieval warriors going up against each other.
Oh, you're talking where they took warriors where they would speculate like the
like the armor, how
blah, blah, blah.
Right. Strong it was.
This was I think it was called Fight Science, if I remember right.
Yeah.
In which they used they did a lot of things with sensors and everything, measuring pressure, measuring speed, even looking at the balance that specific styles, how they shift their weight from the front of their foot to the rear of their foot to throw certain techniques, trying to really break it down scientifically. And by saying, according to science and according, to the amount of joules and getting into physics and everything, this kick is the strongest, this, that, and the other. But, hey, go back to Jhoon Rhee where it was, what is it? Let me make sure I get this right. What is it? I fear not the man that's, help me out here, friends. I want to make sure I get this right. It's not throwing a kick 1,000 times. Let me see. I have to look up the quote. Yeah. But throwing a kick 1,000 times, I'll have to get that. Man, I can't believe I messed that from there. But yeah, it's all about repetition and style. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times.
There you go.
Thank you, Google.
Moving on with the whole take one away. Because I said my favorite one. The reason why I like the Big Boss is because, well, hey, if you watch the Big Boss, then he comes into town, there's hookers in it. Everybody gets messed up. The whole family gets messed up, really. So yeah, if you could pick one, which one is your one?
Man, I still go with Game of Death, man, just because it's a classic. It's just
and it was unfinished though, right?
It was technically unfinished, and then you see. Yeah. And, he really loved working out with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because the height made him think outside of what he normally would. If you didn't have to fight anybody that was over 6 foot tall, you would never develop techniques to fight someone over 6 foot tall. But all of a sudden, Kareem comes in and he's this tall. It's like, wait a minute, I got to think different. I have to think how to specifically attack someone of this height.
Game of Death is, I am glad that they filmed the fight scenes before he passed. But after knowing him and martial arts, you can kind of tell It's like, oh, that's not him. That's not him.
Yeah.
Or they would. I saw this one scene where he was looking in a mirror, and the head was a picture cutout, but the body was a person. I was like, oh, that's a picture cutout. I mean,
So they were like trying to deep fake before deep fake?
Before
Yes,
deepfakes, yes.
yes.
They needed about 60 years of technology later.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. But I mean, as far as Hollywood production, man, Enter the Dragon was king right there.
You like the Enter the
mean-
Dragon. Yes.
I like to Enter the Dragon.
Jim Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly. All right.
Oh, he passed away not too long ago.
Yeah, not too long
Yep.
ago. I want to say within the year, maybe a little bit longer.
Oh, man.
Oh, I got let me see. I got a picture.
Greg May just posted a picture with Jim
Yeah,
Kelly.
he posted a picture with Jim Kelly, didn't he?
That's why I just saw that. I was like, where did I just see that? Another one of my instructors, Greg May.
Oh, he is a phenomenal fighter too.
So I learned footwork from. That's he taught me footwork, which is so essential. Your feet take you where.
Oh, here you go.
Your feet take you where to defend.
So this is just on my phone, but this is Bob Wall,
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Enter the Dragon. He was what was his name?
I don't remember his name, but remember Bruce there right here.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce just tags him.
Oh, he tags him.
He tags him hard.
While I'm at it, yeah, Bob Wall was the main bad dude. And
Yeah,
then-
he had the Mr. Pen.
no,
No,
that's
that's the boss.
That's Dahan. Bob Wall played. I can't remember his O'Hara.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then here's me and the man right there.
Chuck Norris.
Oh, okay. Walker.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
yes.
And
How did y'all feel about that scene when, they were at like the Coliseum and then it's just like, I was like, man.
my favorite is I laugh every time I think about it. Is when they had they said music changes everything, right? And there's that scene where they're taking their tops off.
I know what you're getting at. And he's just like, I saw it.
Yeah, that changes everything. Like,
Music
whoa.
changes everything. Music
That's
changes
a
everything.
good meme. Yes.
That is perfect. You know what? Just by doing that, the whole thing is like,
This is Linda Lee Cadwell. This is Bruce Lee's wife.
Hey.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, these pictures I got because they were all in town for Grandmaster's funeral.
Okay.
Yeah. Dean, we'll talk video game, man, but you got 2 seasoned martial artists in the room too, man.
Hey, I
We
was just
talk
about.
martial
I'm
arts
getting
all day.
into it. I'm getting fed all this info. My next one was going to be, how many street fights y'all get into? Just go ahead.
zero.
Zero. What?
Zero. To be honest, and everybody said something like this before that. Especially now, like for example, I think back. I'll give a perfect example. So I'm playing indoor soccer, right? My kid plays soccer, so I'm a martial artist playing soccer. It's either front kick, round kick, or side kick, and I just have to remember not to kick high when we're playing soccer. I've gotten in trouble for kicking high before, so it's like, okay, all right, let me keep it waist level. And we're getting smashed by this team. I'm like, it's like 12-0, and the guys on that team, most of them were like, hey, we're passing around our girls. We swapped out our goalie. There's no way they're going to lose. So they're not being complete, what's about it, right? Except for this one guy in defense. I stole the ball. It was going to run up to be a one-on-one situation with the goalie. And the guy just, he hooks my arm. And I'm like, you can't let me have this one goal. You're going to actually, hold me. So I did this. He still was holding me. So I stopped, put my hand under his underarm, and as I push forward, I swept his leg. So he goes flying, lands on his face, but he jumps up and gets in my face. And I was like, dude, it's a foul on you. just step away. And he wants to get chest to chest with me. And I want you to stay where I can see you. And in my mind, I'm like, if this guy swings at me, I might have to tag him. But then I start thinking like, government clearance, I've got this, I've got that. And I'm just like, and I'm just slowly retreating from the situation. Like, please don't make me defend myself.
Yeah.
And just also thinking that, I probably could have hurt him and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, it's not worth it. I'm just going to step away.
This was indoor soccer.
It's indoor. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, see, and I was actually explaining that to my students, right? Because I was kind of teaching a lesson on confidence, and confidence is where it's at. Confidence is how you carry yourself. Confidence is, is bully repellent, is what I tell them, right? And I say, if you are confident, bullies are insecure, right? They're not going to pick on someone that's confident. They're going to move on. They're going to look for someone that can't make eye contact, heads low. And so I say the ironic thing is that in martial arts, you learn confidence. And if you are confident, you may never have to use your martial arts. But if you don't have developed that confidence, you might have to use it, right? Because you're bait, and the answer to that question for me is one. And this was a forced, it was a forced situation. I was in high school. I was a friendly, and I was late to gym, and I ran downstairs. I was in the locker room, and I was trying to change. And there was one other kid that was also there, and he was late, but he was one of those kids, he didn't really care. And he was a big dude, right? And he saw me, and I don't know, high school, I'm like, what, 115 pounds, maybe 120. And he goes, yo, man, what you got? What's up? And he just kind of corners me, and he just starts kind of jabbing at me in the gut. And I was like, come on, man, what you got? And I was like, man, stop. I kept telling him to stop. He was like, come on, what you got? And he kept hitting me. And it was to the point where like his tears were starting to come out because he was kind of tagging me hard. I was like, dude, stop. And he wouldn't stop. He took one step back, gave me just enough room, and I did one kick. I did a side kick, boom, right in his throat. Yes. I actually panicked because I thought I killed him because he grabbed his throat and he stepped back. He couldn't breathe. He goes, I was like, oh my God, I killed him. I thought I crushed his trachea. And then he said, all right, you got it, man, you got it. And that was it. But I waited till the last possible moment to do it. And I was scared. I thought I killed him. Now, here's a funny story, Mal. You'll appreciate this because I was almost in another street fight. We were doing prestige practice. So Team Prestige, Prestige is kind of back in the day was a big martial arts team, had some of the best competitors out there. And we were doing practice at Georgetown. And we're talking Hakeem and Shaw and Ibby and I think Akbar.
Akbar, there we go.
Akbar. So anyway, best fighters around. And we were walking Wisconsin and M. We were walking up Wisconsin. And there was like a fraternity of drunk guys coming down.
So this is near Georgetown.
This is Georgetown. This is the intersection. Yeah. So my school at the time was around Georgetown, GW, American. It was all it's all colleges. And so Team Prestige is walking up. These drunk college frat boys are coming down. And all of a sudden I hear this ruckus. I'm like, what's going on? And like we're in a crosswalk. So like I'm trying to peek over. I was like, what is going on? And I hear all this hitting and boom. By the time I get there to the action, it's over because there's a bunch of frat guys all lying in the street. Because I was getting ready. I was like, okay, here comes a fight. It's coming to me. I was like, oh, it's done.
Oh, it's done. It's over.
And there's these frat guys all over the street. I'm like,
do you know what fraternity it was?
No.
Whatever. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. I like that.
They made eye contact. They gave words to the wrong people that day.
So with your bully jabbing you up, hitting you in the breadbasket and everything, how come he didn't, just tag you in the face and stuff?
I just thought he would stop. I mean, I didn't want it to. I was asking him.
Was it playful? and you were just like, "Hey, man, stop," because he was like, "Hey, what you got, huh?"
It was kind of playful, but then I think once he just kept getting harder and harder and harder, and then he just wouldn't stop. And I asked him to stop. I warned him, but
I also learned this kind of recently. I don't know. Are you gentlemen? Do you dibble and dabble in the professional wrestling, or no?
a little bit.
Yep.
A little bit. Okay, so there's this new show out called Tales from the Territories. Mm-hmm. It's like, wrestlers get around in the round table, blah, all this other stuff. And I don't know how far y'all go back. Have y'all ever heard of Jerry Jarrett?
Did you say?
Have you ever heard of Jerry Jarrett?
No, not Jeff. I thought I heard Jeff Jarrett. No.
Not, but Jeff Jarrett's his son.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is Jerry Jarrett. And Jerry Jarrett got in the ring with some gypsy dude. I wish I could call his name, but he said that he had so many options. He could hit him with the fist, but the fist, all the bones, could break against this right here type stuff. And he was like, maybe go for the thing. But, this is wrestling. We're not trying to kill people. And, this would collapse. And they were doing a shoot, right? So he said, quickest way, just go for that eye.
Yeah.
And he pulled out the man's eye, and it's right there. This is all. You can look it up. I recommend anybody look up Tales from the Territory. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's common self-defense. Two primary targets: eyes, groin.
Groin.
Right.
Groin.
And
yes.
And when
that was another thing. So, do you guys miss the times when you were allowed to hit people in the groin before UFC 14?
Well, let me speak to this because, so as I mentioned before, Francis is, one of my original instructors. So he had a black belt before I got mine. And I remember being on a plane flying to Texas, and one of my other instructors, Gerald Dawson, may he rest in peace. He's passed away.
Yeah.
But he told me, he said, hey, Mal, and I was an underbelt, so I was below black belt. I said, you do know the groin is a target here. And I said, what?
Yeah.
He said, yeah, the groin's a target, and it's 2 points. So make sure you don't get kicked in the balls. And I'm like, I said, hold on. I said, whoa. It's a target? He said, yeah, Texas and California. Now, I have a theory for that. Let's see if you agree with this, Francis. When he told you before, Ed Parker out in California with Kempo deals with a lot of strikes, a lot of hand strikes, a lot of slapping. I swear the whole curriculum, Kempo probably has a belt level for groin strikes, period. It's probably one of the belt levels that you only tag to the groin, kick this, that, and the other. So on the West Coast, you had that. And on the East Coast, you had Taekwondo with these high kicks. So you would send these fighters out there, and they're getting kicked all the way to the head. So they were like, all right, when you come to the West Coast, the groin is a target, because if you lift your leg up like that in a street fight, all I've got to do is poof, and you're going to get kicked. So therefore, when you would go out to the West Coast, anything from Texas beyond, the groin was a legal target. And I do believe that is because of the Kempo influence from the West Coast being out there.
It's hard to say, because I learned that lesson the hard way. I was visiting a friend of mine in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, and there just happened to be like a local tournament. And local tournaments are just local schools. It's at a high school gym. I was like, okay, cool. There was prize money, so I figured I'd jump in, and I am known as a high kicker. So I came in, first match, I went in to slide in and tag this dude in the face. He kind of kneeled down and popped me in the nuts. It's like, I grabbed my nuts, and I overplayed it a little bit, right? Because that's penalty. Yeah. Right. But he hit me solid. And then the referee was like, you all right, son? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay now. I was like, groin strikes are legal here, right? I was like, oh. What?
Do now.
Do now. Now, I ended up beating him, but that first point was a lesson. And I always tell my students, I was like, if you go to a tournament outside of the network, make sure you know the rules.
Always know the rules.
What weight class would you guys be in?
Now?
Yeah, right now. Well, I mean, in your prime when you were doing,
lightweight or super lightweight for me. So it would have been 149. or 159 and under, depending on the weight.
Okay. And
That's super light?
Super light was 149. It eventually got to 149. It was 139 before.
What was light? What was Pedro in?
Pedro was 159 and under.
Is that light?
That's light.
Yeah, I was in Pedro's division. That's why I never did well.
Pedro Xavier. If you want to Google Pedro Xavier, this guy's absolutely insane.
He's insane.
Boston Taekwondo.
This dude, man.
So
Pedro, who, by the way?
Xavier. Pedro Xavier. Anybody from Boston Taekwondo, which was the school he was from, anybody that had that on a gi, you immediately know you're on notice. You know, like, all right, if you're fighting a guy, I don't care if you've never seen him before. He's coming out from Joe Pena's school and just the list of killers they developed. You knew, even if you never saw this guy, be aware. Be 100% aware that you're in for a fight. It's kind of like the same thing. Like, my dad told me.
Those dudes were Cobra Kai.
They literally were Cobra Kai. They were the modern day Cobra Kai. My dad would tell me, like, hey, watch out when you go to Philly. Those Philly guys, they're just different, man. And yeah, fighting dudes in Philly they don't give up.
I mean,
they just keep fighting.
If you're in the circuit long enough, you know which schools produce the best fighters for sure. Like, you go into Baltimore, you got, anyone from the Eddie Butcher's clan or you go into the Bronx and you got like Jotty and, I mean, you just gotta, you need to
do
your homework.
Do your homework, because then you go to that equation. Well, you'll find out if this is find out, you know what this is, that linear equation. So you need to find out before you go the other way, or else you serve for a painful lesson for learning. The price of learning is great.
Also, you're a color commentator?
Yes, sir. One of the things that I've been doing since the days of competing have gone down, it's something I found out I could do when we would train, and you're out on the outside of the ring. Either you're judging or you're waiting to get in the ring to spar. And I just started calling the action just like I saw it, and it's something I found out that I could do. I was asked to do it at one of the tournaments. I do believe we were over in Ireland, and they gave me a microphone. I wasn't taking pictures. I wasn't one of the cameramen. So they were like, hey, can you describe what's going on in the fights? And I was like, yeah, this is great. I can tell you, what's happened, what the technique was, did it score, explain the rules, and kind of tell a story. The way someone related it to is just like listening to baseball over the radio, because you could actually correctly describe what's happening and explain to anyone that just maybe found this program right there. So getting a chance to do that, it's led to some nice things doing it over ESPN, getting a chance to kind of call some of the Bellator prelim fights with a guy by the name of Robin Black. He's a Canadian martial artist, and also he works for the equivalent of ESPN up there in Canada. It's called TSN instead of ESPN. He's their MMA analyst. Getting a chance to meet him and like literally call fights with him, and we would be doing things like this, hanging out with Chuck Liddell, Chris Cyborg, CM Punk, John Finch. I'm just going off like the top of my head of guests that we had on the show, which was really cool just to hang out with. And like, that was all during pandemic. That was great. That was great to meet. And the funny thing is, I actually didn't physically meet Robin face to face until this year at Karate Combat, because we'd done everything virtually. And I finally got a chance to meet him face to face. I was actually just in Toronto. Got a chance to meet him, his wife, and his baby girl. So it's a strange world, but something I do enjoy doing because I could do it. And commentating is a lot less sore than actually fighting in a tournament. Right. Just tell you, it's a little bit easier to do because the only thing that's tired is my voice at the end of the night, and not my body, my ankle, my pinky, or whatever you'll nick up or injure. So that's been really fun. I've enjoyed doing that.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I remember we used to watch Redskins games, and we would actually turn the radio on and listen to the commentary on the radio, not the announcers on TV, because they were just a lot more detailed.
Yep, because you had to be. You had to paint the picture.
And
yes,
and if you know the sport, then you do great. Like as much as I hate him, Troy Aikman's not that bad a commentator.
With Joe Buck, he is. Gosh.
And nobody mentioned Chris Collinsworth because he's a guy that you're just like, oh, please just shut up.
I know.
Oh, Chris been messing up here lately this new season. Like the opening game, he was like, like, oh man, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, they notice because there are a couple guys that want to take that spot,
Right.
That's right.
And so, and painting the picture, like going back to wrestling, I don't know if you gentlemen know about Gordon Soley, but there was a blind guy came up to him and said, I could see it. Just by you talking. Yeah.
That means a lot. Just
Wow.
To be able to describe with that much detail, that's
good. That's incredible, yeah.
So what you're doing, man, color commentating is awesome. I love it. I've done it once or twice. I used to be a pro wrestler. I used to work and everything like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the promoter, he moved off to Memphis and stuff. So I'm just like, I'm in Arkansas.
Oh.
So in Arkansas, there's really nothing here.
I've driven through that state many times.
Okay.
So I definitely. Let's see. If you're a WCW and then later WWE fan, Ernest the Cat Miller.
Yeah. What about him?
So Ernest is an old.
He's awesome.
And the cat. Let me tell you, Ernest is one of those guys. We were in Canada one time, and we had just competed up in Canada, and we got to our gate super early, and he would just tell me story after story. He said he got his locker, he got his break. He said because Scott Hall and Kevin Nash would come in. So we would call this in PG County, we call it joning. Okay, it could be in terms of cracking or whatever. But it's you just come in and talk. You just talking bad about like, oh man, look at those shoes right there.
I say joning. Your mother,
you just going.
There you go.
So
that's right.
Scott Hall and Kevin Nash would do that in the locker room, and he says people were just like intimidated. And Ernest said, my mom always told me, don't let nobody talk bad about you. And, he's from Atlanta. He's got a little bit of the country voice going on. And he would stand up to him, and he had the locker room in tears after Scott Hall came and said something to him. And he was like, well, hold on for a second there, Razor Remote. And he just turned everything against him. And he says, I get called to the boss's office thinking like, oh, man, I'm going to get fired. And they were like, yeah, they told me you were really good. You want to try doing a promo on the mic. Just because you were very good with just being able to no script, just go with it. And he started getting more and more FaceTime and more time on mic. They developed a character for him. And it was all because of that. And, as he moved over to the WWE, same thing with Vince. He's like, can I trust you? You're not going to freeze in the moment. You're not, the worst thing to do is to mess up on the mic in front of a live audience. And everybody's done it. Everybody's done it. Go look at some of the bloopers that The Rock has.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. They retape that stuff later on. If it's
you got to fix it. Yeah. you have to fix it or else it will not be
live. It's just, you just look awkward live. Yeah.
Yeah. But Ernest is a friend and he's still active. You go to the Battle of Atlanta in June. He'll be there, and I'll see on his Instagram wrestling shows he's going to, signing autographs and doing things like that.
Nice. So is that where these catchphrases come from? Better call your mama. Better call
my mom. Call my mama.
Yeah. Hey,
you take what you know and you make it your own. That's
you brand it.
You brand it absolutely.
Also, since we were talking about movies earlier, are any of you familiar with the Hollywood hit blockbuster Jim Cotta?
Oh, absolutely.
You are
Jim Cotta? Yeah,
I'm coming up empty on this one.
Ooh, Francis, has he seen it before?
Well,
Francis,
see, I've been in martial arts a little bit. I've been in martial arts a little bit longer than Mal, but Jim Cotta was one of those. It was a kind of an experiment where they would try to teach a gymnast martial arts, and it made for an entertaining movie. I mean,
very entertaining.
So Mal, this
not
is
in the right way.
I'm looking at it right now. Okay,
Jim Cotta.
Yeah,
yes.
But it was like Chuck Norris was still doing like Octagon and Good Guys Were Black at the time, I think. Right. But it's
85.
85. Okay.
Yeah.
If you
watch
have
that trailer, Mallory, when you get time.
If you have 90 minutes, you might want to just to say you saw it.
Yeah, just to say you saw it.
I'll do it.
Just to say you saw it.
I will definitely do it.
And do you guys have like a I guess, a modern martial arts actor that, you'll see all his movies are?
This is a good question. Let me think about it.
Yeah, I was actually, someone interviewed me not too long ago, and I've actually stopped really watching martial arts movies, and I think I'm too much of a critic for one,
Okay.
and when I start to see stuff that is like beyond belief, I just
Man. So if I pull this up, you're probably going to hate me for this, but I really love this guy because this guy, he can do no wrong in my. You know Tony Jaa.
Oh yeah, no,
okay.
he's
Yeah.
good. He's entertaining.
Good.
He's entertaining.
Okay, because I thought you were going to say that elephant trick, phooey, whatever.
I mean, I don't know. It takes a lot to entertain me, I think, with a martial arts movie. But yeah, Tony Jaa is good. I mean, he now it's not like classical Muay Thai, but he puts a great spin on it, and he's very entertaining, I think. But it's not like I'm gonna go out of my way to watch any martial arts movie. Like I was kind of forced to watch Cobra Kai because my 10-year-old wanted to watch Cobra Kai.
I haven't even seen Cobra Kai because I haven't really been a fan of Karate Kid since my brother was a fan.
It's a good, if you remember the Karate Kid movies, it's a good fleshing out of more of the mythos, especially like, why was Johnny always acting that way? You get a little more about Johnny's backstory. It's like, oh, okay, all right, that makes sense. You know what? The couple that I don't have a picture of, we were in the Battle of Atlanta. I met them. I met Mary Mouse. I met her and one of the other actors, and I was like, should I get a picture with them? I was like, nah, there are a bunch of people waiting. I'm not going to get a picture with them. And then that was after season 1, and it just completely blows up. And it is what it is now. We've actually got friends that are on the show.
Kurt Shyrock.
Yes.
Kurt Shyrock and his whole group is up there. Yeah.
Justin Ortiz is on there, who is
Hirokota does some stuff at the tournaments too. Hirokota did a lot of the choreography, and he played a referee in a couple of matches. Yeah. The martial arts world is small.
Yeah.
Once you're in it long enough, you know a lot of people. Yeah. It's like Mal, it's like whenever we watch like any action movie, Last Samurai, Aquaman, John Wick, we sit there and we watch the credits for stunts.
That's what I think.
And my wife, I think my wife's annoyed because like, oh, I know him. I know her. Yep.
And they're like, you could have looked that up on IMDb. No, but it's not as fun as watching
it's not as fun.
Slowly go up the screen.
We're here in the now, lady. Come on.
Yeah. I know.
Clean up and everything. They're like, there's no Marvel trailer afterwards. Like, I know, I'm just waiting for stunts. I'm waiting for this. That,
like I miss it. Gio Crivera was in town.
Gio, and so I sent Gio a message. I was like, hey, she helped put the whip on that ass last time, didn't you? And episode 8, he was in there. It's so funny because he was from the area, and it was episode 8 of She-Hulk. I was like, there's Gio.
There's Gio.
He's taking that L. Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's when I see guys that I know that are doing stuff like that, I get really excited because I'm happy for them. And here's one actually you may not know. So there are very small, probably 8, maybe 10 people that I can claim that I had from white belt to black belt at Charlie's school. So one of my legitimate students, Ross Costam, was just in Obi-Wan Kenobi. He did a lot of the stunts for Obi-Wan. I love there's a picture of him on Vanity Fair. Hayden Christensen is coming down with the lightsaber, and there's Ross there blocking it, training with Hayden Christensen. And this kid at 18 decided, hey,
that's cool.
I'm just going to go out to Hollywood and then he calls me and was like, hey, I got this, I did some, green screen for something. I was like, do you know what the project is? He's like, this is the project name, but I know that's not the movie name. So he calls me back 6 months later. He's like, I finally found out what that project was. What was it? It was Deadpool. I did the scene where he pops up and shoots that 3-shot of the head. It's like, yeah, that was me. And I was like, you're on your way. And then next thing you know, he's taking pictures with Will Smith and The Rock and this, that, and the other. Like, this kid's life, man.
There you go, man.
Yeah. And I remember him when he was 6 years old.
It's great.
You know,
it's great.
just coming into school.
Yeah, when you watching your students succeed, man, it's amazing.
It is pretty cool.
It's amazing.
And you're a Deadpool nerd, right?
100%.
100%. Now, is this the movie Deadpool or is it the comic Deadpool or what?
Meaning is it?
You know, or do you go off the what you see in the movies and you're like, oh, okay, Ryan Reynolds did pretty good, or do you, read a comic book here and now and then?
I think that Ryan Reynolds did the best interpretation of what and who Deadpool is in the comics.
No one else could have played it better.
No one
than
else
Ryan.
could have played it. And I'm not talking about Rob Liefeld's Deadpool. I'm talking about when he actually got his own series, because Liefeld introduced the character and created him. Great, give him his check, whatever. But there you go. Is that 97 or 87?
90. Definitely
90. Okay, I was going to say, I almost remember. Well, you're talking to a guy who had 30,000 comics and eventually sold them. So yeah.
You sold them all?
I sold them. It was a very sad day. Very, very sad day. But was running out of space, had to go digital. But there's certain people that enhance a character. I'll give you an example. Robert Downey Jr. with Tony Stark. He made Tony Stark more real on the screen because he totally got who that character is. And Ryan Reynolds does that with Deadpool completely. So I think it is probably the best perfect marriage you could have between an on-page character and a movie character.
Yeah.
Okay. And, I was just going to give you a little question since you're a Deadpool nerd, right?
Yes.
So, fill in this blank. Deadpool was once cursed by Loki to look like blank.
Man, what's common lore? Deadpool was cursed by Loki to look like, and I'm coming up short on that. I'm going to tap out. I need to know this answer, though.
Tom Cruise.
Get out.
Oh, no. Okay, I remember that. No, now that you said, I do remember. You're right.
Yes.
He was so annoyed at that. I do remember now.
It's Deadpool, yeah.
Hey, you get
funny,
original, unique stuff.
I read this quote. When I was younger, I was blown away when a friend showed me a Commodore 64. Who would that friend be?
For me, it would be me, and his friend was his name was Adam Muffley. Lived in my neighborhood and got a Commodore 64. Ironically, he wrote a wrestling game in BASIC. He was a huge wrestler.
Oh my gosh. In BASIC. And
I saw this computer. I knew exactly. I went out and got a paper route the next day so that I can go buy a Commodore 64 for myself. If I remember, also, Adam took classes at the Falls Church Jhoon Rhee.
Probably.
I have a memory of that. I remember going to that school before years and years ago. That's why when I came to Sunset, I was like, I've been here before. It's like, and I just seriously think, it was 15 years before, but it was my friend Adam Muffley who had the Commodore 64, which encouraged me to get one, which sent me on this entire journey.
So it wasn't an actual game, because I know you can make games on Commodore. So it was just the Commodore, experience of making a game, your own.
It was right. And he had a series of moves like, do you try pile driver? Do you try this? Do you try this? And he had written like all these little like stats for, as you kind of progress up. So it would have been Saturday morning WWE in DC. So you would have had, your biggest star would have been Hulk Hogan. He had Bob Backley, he had Jimmy Superfly Snuka. He had
Ricky Steamboat.
Ricky Steamboat, thank you. Man, and this is before he was Ricky the Dragon. He was just
Jumping Jim Bronzell.
Yep, it was just
Andre the Giant.
Oh man, it was just he had everybody there. And he had them rated by like, you got to fight this guy first. You got to fight this guy, and you had to do specific moves to actually win. And I was like, it's impossible. You can't win. And he was like, I don't want you to see this. Like, boom, 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 boom. See, there it is. I beat the game. And I was like, well, you wrote it, so you know how to beat it. Come on. But that right there, I have a lot to thank Adam for. I've been trying to find that dude too. I legitimately have been trying to find him.
Dude, you're in IT, man.
I lost contact with him in middle school, and I think I found him somewhere in Maryland, and I I think it's a postcard. Like, hey,
Dude.
this is Adam Muffley, lived off of Jarvis Street. Contact
Man,
me. Blah,
let
blah,
me tell you something, man. With Facebook, I found like my best friend from third grade.
and the thing is, you
crazy.
got to remember first and last name.
Yeah,
and
you
all
got to
this
remember,
other stuff.
you got the name down, you're okay. Dean, what is that on your shirt?
Oh, well, this is we talked about great football players like Troy and RG3. Here's one of the greatest.
Bundy.
And of course, it's Al Bundy. That's right. He peaked in high school, I heard.
4 touchdowns in a single game, darn it. Yeah.
From my view, it just kind of looks like a hairy chest. And I was like, wait a minute,
Oh, it
that's
kind of
someone's
does,
head.
huh?
But
Yeah.
for a second there, I thought it was Peyton Manning due to the size of the head.
Oh, that does look like a Manning head right
It
there.
does look like Peyton
Manning?
Manning's head.
Oh, Pack?
Just from the side of the head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's got that weird
He's
shape.
got that weird,
that alien shape almost.
Yeah.
I was like, how did you guys get a helmet for this dude?
I know, right? Custom molded.
Seriously custom.
And I was going to ask, what are 2 MMA people, male and female, that you can see can do no wrong in your eyes, and they're your favorite?
Let me see. I will go first. I will say, my phone, because this is a picture of George St. Pierre. I have to pull up.
Oh, GSP. Okay.
Dude, when I saw the pictures of you with GSP, I called you like right away. I was like, dude, give me an autograph.
So I actually got a chance to train with him and interview him. So that was fun. This picture, which you cannot see because of the way the filter is working, is he's an ambassador to Karate Combat. So I was there giving a quick interview with him, and I said, hey, do you remember we came out to your secret dojo and we did this training for point? He was like, Mallory, I remember you. Because he complimented me. I was 45 then, and just we did a bunch of drilling. We did a bunch of, and he's like, you're not tired? I was like, no. He's like, how old are you? I'm like, 45. He's like, really? So I would say George St. Pierre can do no wrong. And I would go with Valentina Shevchenko. She also can do no wrong. Current women's flyweight champion at 125.
Yeah. My favorite has always been Matt Hughes. And he wasn't around long, and once he got beat, he never really came back. But I think he was a very disciplined, skilled fighter. Ryan Hall is my favorite.
50-50 Ryan Hall.
For a couple reasons, right? One, we're good friends. 2, I roll at his gym, right? I did for a while. And he is an amazing. I mean, he beat BJ Penn.
Yes,
it
made it look easy,
and he made it look easy. He beat BJ Penn, and he's just up the street. But
do you tap as soon as he just touches your knee? As soon as he just touches your kneecap,
dude, I'm not even good enough to go head to head with Ryan yet, right? I mean, but on top of that, he is genuinely the nicest guy I know. I mean, he calls me sir. I was like, what are you calling? Don't call me sir. It's like female. I always thought Ronda Rousey was unstoppable.
Until
you always did, she's something else. But I like Cyborg now. I like Cyborg. Yeah,
she's super nice, man. She's so sweet. I mean, I can't say enough good things about her. I got to contact you to interview Ryan. I didn't know that I have an in that way. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Got someone else I'll interview. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bumped into Rana just 2 times when I was in the audience, and she was all right. She gave me a fist bump. This was when she went to the UFC Hall of Fame, and I just held up, congrats, Rhonda.
Oh, and the thing, it was funny because I got like a Facebook alert that she was gaming. I was like, she's a gamer?
Yeah.
Yes.
I had no idea she was a big gamer. I was like, so I'm
in the bed
watching her play game.
She not only games, but she also does the stream is set for charity. So she'll pick a charity and all the donations that come through the stream. It's very, very respectable. You got to love that.
Absolutely. Maybe we can get her to play the Untouchable.
You know what? Hey,
back to the Untouchable. Hey, since you held up a script and everything like that, what is the lore with X and Khan?
You
The
want
lore.
First Khan?
The Lord,
Back-
is
backstory.
Khan like a nephew of some descendant that has just gone crazy and wants to fight everybody? I don't know.
Khan is the genetic recreation of Genghis Khan.
Oh, okay. So
That's
it's like a
kinda bit.
test baby, but not really a test baby?
I don't know. Somehow they got his DNA.
Oh, okay.
Made me.
Now, X is unknown, right?
X is unknown, but we left it. So
Let's
so
speculate.
one of the things that I have to admit, I actually never told anybody this. So when we were being asked to come up with character backgrounds and everything, I picked X, and I was like, okay, I want to be shrouded in mystery. And I had just finished playing the original Metal Gear Solid on the PS1.
Oh, nice.
And I liked the idea that I worked for some very, very, very Black Ops military organization. And that's all I could say. So in Untouchable 2, Cynthia was going to be my boss of this organization that I worked for. But I kept it really, like, it was like everything's classified, everything's Black Ops. And I actually liked the idea of like being I thought about Solid Snake a lot when thinking of
Snake. Nice.
and that is from it was a blizzard. I actually played Metal Gear for the entire time we were like laid up for a week, and I was like, man, this is the greatest game I ever played. I just think about it story wise,
So you like the stealthy.
Oh, I like the stealth. I love the stealth. At first I went in guns a-blazing. And it was like, nah, you
Right,
do it
yeah.
that way, but why don't you do it this way? And once I started playing that way, the idea was like, can I play this game and never get seen? Can I do it without getting the exclamation mark? And that became the challenge. And then there was a ninja game like that in which you tried to be completely unseen, like get the perfect. They never knew you were there. And a friend of mine finished that, and he was like, I got 99%, and that was tough.
Wow.
I can't remember the name of that. It was one of the PS1 games back in that era.
PS4? Or you said PS1?
PS1.
One? Okay.
Tenshu
Kenshin.
Stealth Assassins. I think that's what it was. PS1 classic, the Enshu, the same bringing real stealth to ninja games for the first time. Yeah. Basically to build around stealth, to not come in guns a-blazing.
Okay.
To really, operate as a ninja would.
And is this ninja well equipped with the katana,
Yes, you would have all the weapons.
all that? Okay.
You had available.
Nice.
If I remember right, didn't you shoot one of the scenes, Francis, where you were dressed up in a ninja costume? I'm trying to remember what scene it was for. I don't know if it was for the Untouchable or was some other footage or something. Because I remember you had that outfit on, and I want to say, I'm trying to remember who else, because you threw a kick and you were supposed to miss. You actually, you threw that hook kick right. He ate it, just stayed.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, did you just kick him in the
What?
face?
Yeah.
Lush. And he stayed character.
It was like we were filming like a cutscene or something.
Night. It was really hard to do. It was lit by car light, and you threw this reverse hill kick and smashed somebody in the face, and they just they kept going, which was, look, when you eat one of those to the chin, you don't ask for seconds.
No.
You do not ask for seconds on that. No mouthpiece, no nothing. Ooh,
I know. Oh, yeah.
That was tough. I remember seeing that footage, and I forget who was like, did you really kick him? Like, yeah, I kicked him in the face.
I kicked him.
Hazards. If I could find the blooper reel, I'll send it to you. It's got some good stuff on it.
I have the blooper reel on VHS, but I think Travis did digitize it.
Francis, what was your go-to game that was favorite to you, like Metal Gear?
Let's see. I did like Metal Gear a lot. I kind of migrate a lot towards the RPG games.
Okay.
Like around that time, like Final Fantasy VII was a go-to. There was PS1. There was another game called Vagrant Story that was good, but I also like the fun ones too, like Parappa the Rappa.
Oh, Parappa the Rapper, yes. Kick,
That
punch,
one.
it's all in the mind. Yes.
Exactly, right. And then there was also there was a DJ version of that too. one there. I think, but that was kind of like the birth of. I think that was the birth of Guitar Hero, wasn't it?
Right.
Like Parappa
It
the
was
Rappa.
for syncing type of games. You had that. You had Jammer Lammy, Parappa 2. And it's funny that you mentioned that. I thought I was good in Parappa until I went and watched Travis play. And Travis blew my mind. I was like, I didn't know you could do that. Like what is that? I mean, he would, when you get to a certain point, they just allow you to freestyle. And like the whole scene just goes away. I'm pretty sure you can find like a Let's Play or something like that on YouTube. Like instead of just playing and just going, just dropping kick or punch or whatever at the right moment, if you get to a specific rhythm where you get to where you're above like good, everything just goes away and it's just Parappa on his own freestyling. And Travis showed me that first time. I was like, I thought I was good at this game, but
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, right around that era, I was trying a lot of games because let's just say I figured out how to hack a PS1.
Allegedly,
Allegedly,
mod chips.
And
yes.
let's say I allegedly had a friend that worked at Babbage's.
Babbage's was an old electronics store. Yeah, I think I've definitely participated in some of that before. Understanding. Wait, all this chip does is just tell the PS1 to load whatever disk is in the drive, even if it doesn't have bad sectors on it.
So what did you do? Put a swap disk in there?
It was beyond the swap disk trick because PS1 games, the reason why they were black is they were written with bad sectors on there. No commercial CD-ROM drive can write bad sectors. In fact, why would you want to write a bad sector? You don't want to have a bad sector on a CD. But the way that PlayStation 1 games are written, they were intentionally had bad sectors written. So therefore, when you tried to copy it, the disk drive would say, this is a bad sector, I can't copy this. So that was copy prevention. But if you were able to get an image of a disk, it would look for those bad sectors. And if it did not find them, it would not load. So therefore, a mod chip would just say automatically load, just load it. Don't worry about it, just load it. Even if it's from Japan, if it's out of region, automatically load it.
So you're talking about the image file being like a bin or a bin?
Yeah, so if you got a bin of it and you burn it to a CD, it would not have those bad sectors on it. So therefore, the PS1 would not load it. So yeah, there are extensive write-ups on all that stuff of how people found out how to do this, that, and the other, and then how instead of like chipping wasn't the best way, they begin to attack the drive itself, like writing custom firmware for an Xbox 360 so that it would play backups or play copies.
We know a little thing. We know a thing or two about hacking.
Little thing about a little thing.
Let's just say when I turned 18, I had to give it all up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, might have been in that group too. Allegedly.
I just like games.
I get it. Most I ever did with that kind of hacking trick was the PS2 because I think you could take it all out in a single, it was all attached to the motherboard and you could put it in this other, like I had a blue clear case, right?
Right. You put it in a case, yeah.
It was swap disk and stuff, and you could burn the PS2 to a DVD ROM disc. So it worked out. And I think the Saturn or the Dreamcast, it was no problem.
Dreamcast, once they figured out how to write the boot file, you could copy it using, I can't remember the name of the copy program, but once they found out, I can just write this, people actually began to develop their own games for the Dreamcast. They would learn how to, how it's written and then write their own stuff, and you just write that specific bootloader to it, throw it in the Dreamcast, and it would play. I still have a couple of Dreamcasts around this house somewhere.
Wow.
What
happened to the comics, Mallory? Come on.
Trust me, it was a sad day.
Oh man, what was your most valued one, if you can remember?
You didn't save any of them?
No, I had to do the whole thing. I had to go full, and then I found some later. Like, oh man, got a couple left over. Probably most valuable would have been my entire X-Men collection. I had a complete run.
This is from the 1960s, right?
No. So I wasn't back there. We're talking Uncanny X-Men, probably like 150 to the current.
Okay, that's good then. Yeah, because that's when you get into Chris Claremont.
It was a full Claremont run. I mean, even John Byrne when he was the artist on there, and I had a lot of A Death in the Family when Robin was killed.
Yes,
those original ones first printing. Todd McFarlane's first run of Spider-Man, and New Mutants, which included the first appearance of Deadpool and Cable and Six Pack and Domino, all those characters that first appeared in the late issues of New Mutants in the 90s. I had all of those. So and then I had original when McFarlane took over an Amazing Spider-Man before he introduced before the symbiote, the black costume. So we're talking full run of that stuff.
Did you sell them all? Did you sell them all to one person?
I sold them all to one person. I went to AwesomeCon. I found a guy. I gave him the list on an Excel file. I said, like 90% of these have boards and backing boards behind them. And here, here's what I have. And the guy looked over and says, "All right, I think let's negotiate a price." And he came over and loaded everything up in a van. And I kept saying to myself, "I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this." And then I kept saying, "I don't. I've got to do it."
That's some cold turkey there, brother.
Oh, it was. It was pull the Band-Aid off, man.
Mallory, I think has a memorial service every year on the day he sold them.
Oh man!
I don't want to talk about it.
Whatever the reason is, I'm sure it was good. Oh man! Did you have any Francis?
No.
You weren't in the comics?
Not hardcore. I mean, not really. I mean, I do have, I do know there's value in comics. Like I'm looking at one now that's in a case.
Oh, is it
some of the stuff I like I have a Battlestar Galactica from 1971, first edition, because that was one of my favorite series. I have a couple Star Wars comics somewhere, but I mean, I wasn't a big collector. I would still go to Comic-Con. It's a lot of fun, but I just that wasn't. Yeah, I got a couple, but no, nothing like Mallory.
Yeah. In fact, if I remember right, my original comic shop would have been near you. It was called the Blue Beetle. It was off of Allentown Road.
Oh yeah, Blue Beetle.
And I would ride my bike up there, and I would spend my hard-earned money. You're talking about a guy that listened. My first 40-hour job was at Toys R Us at an amazing $3.05 an hour, and it was just enough to pay for comics for the entire summer.
Nice.
I worked at the world's biggest toy store. R.I.P. Jeffrey. I know he's coming back at Macy's somewhere, but still, stocking game walls and diapers and Toys R Us and finding all the old Atari ET cartridges that they still literally had there. I can confirm that there were crates of cartridges that they could not give away. Atari 2600 cartridges of ET that were in my Toys R Us off of Allentown Road.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do everything. They'd have me stock the game wall, and I would move you would have to alphabetize the game wall, and I would do everything except for I would never touch the Ouija board. I'm like, yes, y'all have to move. I'm not
the Ouija boards.
I'm not.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I will not even so much as touch that.
Are you both spiritual men?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool.
Why is work emailing me at almost 1 a.m?
What? It's almost 2 a.m.
It's almost 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's almost 2 a.m. I'm about to wrap it up. Oh, I see you getting over there. Oh boy.
I'm a family man now. I used to do all-nighters, man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I still do all-nighters, but hey, I see my kid when I see him. Baby mama.
I get that.
That's funny.
Francis, Mallory, I appreciate both of you. And Mallory got at me, everybody, through the email, and my son called you. What did he call you?
Fake. He called me the fake Blade. I was happy watching this video, and I'm sitting there like. So I actually commented, "Guys, it's the fake Blade."
That's great.
I'd love to reach out to you if you guys love to hear some stories about the Untouchable and filming and everything else. Sure. And I was like, he's never going to reply. Oh, boom. He hit me up, and we went back and forth. We were just trying to get everything. I've been traveling a bunch for work, so it's like, let's just find the right time to do this. So
yeah.
And I knew Francis is a night owl just like me, so
yeah. He contacted me yesterday. You free tomorrow at 11:30? I was like, sure.
Yeah, it just so happens that the stars aligned and I'm off tonight. I've been off for 2 days and everything.
Oh,
I'm gonna celebrate my birthday. Friday. I turned the big 4-0.
Ooh.
4-0. I turned that 5-0 last year.
You did the 5-0.
I did the 5-0. Francis already crossed that plane. You know, he went before me. Tell me how it is on the other side. I'm like, I ain't that bad. It's a lot more creaking and cracking and when did I injure this? You know, you'll never sneak up on anybody after 40.
I'll tell you what, man. Recovery is a lot longer now.
Yes.
Body recovery.
That's the one thing that was strange. A quick story for me. So I unfortunately caught COVID in June, right after going to a work conference. Never had a fever, never had lost a sense of smell. But what happened? Every major injury that I've had, from knee to ankle, and I had something with the elbow, came back.
Oh.
And I was icing like I had just done it.
What?
That was the worst thing about COVID for me. Any injury, any martial arts injury, reflared back up. I remember icing my ankle, my knee, and like my shoulder, my elbow at the same time. Like I had just done it. Like I just come from like fighting all day at some tournament. Like what is this? You know, but like, you know what? Like from all the other symptoms, I'll deal with this. I'll gladly take that.
Yeah, me and you must have the same strain, because like I could taste fine, I could smell fine. This back hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, everything that was an old injury flared up. Yeah, it's really, really weird. So
yeah,
crazy.
I do not understand it.
40. You're still young.
Yeah, man. You got
still young.
I'm still young. I'll make it, right?
You gonna do anything special for your birthday there, Dean?
Oh no, I treat it like it's another day. Plus, I got to work on my birthday. So.
Oh. What's the choice of profession for you?
What do I do? I take care of old people. I'm a caretaker.
That's dope, man.
Well, hey, the money's up. I've been everything. I've been industrial painter, sandblaster. I've worked at Sonic, Popeyes too. This is an easy gig. Plus, there's a lot of women there. So,
you know what? Everything has its privileges.
So real quick, my mother is she's been a geriatric nurse for a long time. DC Village, Mal.
Yeah,
where she was out over in Southeast.
Mm-hmm.
But there were days where she couldn't find a babysitter, so she'd bring me with her, and I grew up with all the seniors around me. I was like everyone's baby. You know, they love seeing kids in the area and stuff like that.
They do.
Yeah.
But I love when people come through.
They love it. They love it. They love visitors, man. Yeah. So much respect to you, man.
If anyone's watching and you got a loved one in there, go see them. Yeah. They're sitting up there waiting on you.
Yeah. They're a lifetime of experience to tap.
Right.
You have infinite experience to absolutely take advantage of.
One of my favorite projects when I was a Cub Scout was we had to go to a retirement home and interview someone. And they have great stories. I have great stories now. I'm only 51 years old.
Right.
Imagine when I'm like 90, I'm gonna have some crazy stories. Like we were meeting people that were boxers and people that were in the war. They had just amazing stories, man. So, God bless you, Dean. That's amazing, dude.
That is great work, man. I respect you for that.
See, plus I'm a big man. All the women like say, "Come pick up so and so." Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, sure. No problem.
Yeah. Let me walk on over there.
Oh man, I wish I had you train me. I wouldn't be caretaking, but hey, I like it. Caretaking, you gotta be in it to love it. I like the money, but it's just that sense of gratitude when these old people look at you like.
Yeah.
Because I got this one man. Yeah. He was like, "Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Oh, thank you." And I'm just like, "Hey, it's okay, man. No,
it's all good, man. It's all going to come back to you, bro."
Yeah, definitely so. But, we got to take care of our elderly patrons. It's a lifetime, because it's weird how the circle of life works. Your parents take care of you when you're a baby, and when you get older, you then take care of your parents as they get elderly. So and you do so that hopefully the little ones that you leave will take care of you once you get to that stage in life.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I always ask, Good Lord, bud. Hey, I hope I'm in my right memory. Goodness.
Yeah.
Man, those people there are crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, man, I love that y'all came on and talked to me. I love that you reached out to me, Mallory. Francis, I'm glad to meet you.
Boom.
Man, it's 2:00 where y'all are at. Y'all need to get some sleep.
It was worth it, man. It was worth it, and it was nice to meet a new friend there, Dean.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate
And
it.
did you send him? I sent him your profile. Hopefully, you sent him a Facebook request. So,
Oh yeah, I already added Francis.
There you go. Anything
Yeah.
you need in terms of like putting this together, like, do you have footage on this? Do you have footage on that? Ask away, and we'll provide it for you to help make this content pop even more.
Oh yeah. I mean, I already got all the stuff in my head when, and you said you had to scan this and that, and I mean, if you can scan it, that'd be fine. Instead of me searching on Google.
Yeah, and just shoot me your contact info. I'll send you some swag.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
There you go. And it can appear right back there when you and your son are playing, right in the background of
there you go.
Studio. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to be in the process of moving too, so you might not see that background very soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for coming on.
For sure.
Glad to do it.
All right, boys. Boom.
Later, guys. Have a good
See ya.
night. I'll catch you soon.
All right.
Thanks.
You got it.
If you made it this far, it's the end of the interview. But wait, there's more. Stick around for some outtakes. And thank you once again, Mallory Woods and Francis Pineda. Sure do enjoy this. Oh yeah. Nice guys. Watch these outtakes.
I'm also a Star Trek nerd, so I was catching up on Picard and Strange New Worlds, and now I'm trying to get, Mr. Robot and Westworld, and actually I wanted to start watching The Terminal List because
right.
Jack Carr, he's the author. Heard about him on Joe Rogan, and he's a Navy SEAL. Wrote a series of books. So the first book, Terminal List, is a series on Amazon, so I'm gonna get into that one.
Yeah, there's a good thing. There's a double-edged sword. So I got Brooklyn. Brooklyn's my youngest daughter. She's 14, be 15 in next month. She started watching Star Trek with me.
Oh, great!
But because she has to get up early, like she has soccer practice at 7:30 tomorrow. We've gotten to Strange New Worlds, and we've hit a point. She's like, we'll get 20 minutes. We're like, Daddy, I'm tired. I'm like, I gotta finish the episode. Come on, you got to be able to do some jumping jacks. Get going.
Have a Red Bull.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, here, you know what? You got to introduce them. At least it's not Jolt. It's not Joe Cola.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus Christ! Jolt.
God knows what damage that did to.
Oh my God!
To your body.
That was Jolt was the Diablo 1 days.
Just staying for 20 plus hours a day.
Is that the sun? Oh yeah.
You're like, oh, it is. Oh, it's time to get up again. I think one of my more favorite memories is I had a guy when I was working at a company called Input. I met a kid named Aaron Zaffron at 13, one of the most brilliant programmers I've ever worked with. And he was going back to tech to do classes. And he messaged me one day about noon, said, hey, I'm going to pick up Tony Hawk's Skater 3. I think it was, that's PS2 days. So I'm going to pick up Tony Hawk's Skater 3. Can you cover for me for a half hour? I was like, dude, you've worked enough, man. Go ahead, go buy it. I got you. So I sign off with him saying, okay, we got to get blah, blah, blah done. I was like, by the way, how's Tony Hawk? He said, great. Richard, his roommate, is playing it. This is at 4 p.m. So go home, go to sleep, come back to work the next day. I messaged him about 1 o'clock and I said, hey, are you going to have whatever we're working on ready? And he says, yeah. He said, man, Richard's still playing because I kind of hear in the background. I was like, oh, did you get up early and play? He says, no, he's been playing since yesterday.
Yeah.
Just all the way through, blew off classes, and just kept going, man.
No, I mean,
those are the days.
I've wasted so much time on World of Warcraft and EverQuest, those MMOs.
Oh yeah.
Oh God. Every once in a while, I'll actually log in just to check out my tune. I was like, "Oh, he's still there. He's still in the guild.
He's still doing his thing." Oh, by the way, so Dean, I have a question for you. I told Francis, I said we're going to get along fine. I saw that Cowboys hating video. Francis, a couple seasons ago, before we were the Washington football team and before we're now the Commanders, Used to be one of the guys that would run out when we would score a touchdown
Yeah.
with the flagpoles at FedEx Field. So he's got a definite history there with the team. We obviously like torture because we're
Yeah.
still fans.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find some pictures here.
I would say
I
you
got some good
definitely got to
stuff.
get a picture of that, man. That was cool. I was in the pipeline to do that, and it never worked out. I remember I was like,
I never brought you on the field.
no, no, no. You saw me and my
Oh.
mom there that day, that Dallas game. We were
Uh-huh.
down like at the front row,
You
and I
wanted to
saw
be a
you. I was like,
flag
hey,
bearer
hey.
too?
Say again?
I was
I
saying
was
you wanted to be a flag bearer too?
I did. I wanted to do it, and he said, "Okay, just to let you know that when they do the intro for the games, they have a flag for the 12th man, and you usually got to run from goalpost to goalpost with that flag, and they make the new guys do it, and guys that are not in shape start to peter out about the 50-yard line. You're like, you got to run 50 more yards with this flag, and you're dead. And I was like, at that time I was in great shape. I was like, I'll be fine. It's not gonna be a problem for me, you know. But yeah,
Here
that's
you go.
let's see here.
Let me see. Can I share a screen? Oh, can you? If you want to enable screen sharing, I can share a screen with you.
Alrighty.
Let's see. Oh man, I can't believe we beat Green Bay.
That was
the best. We always play our best against Green Bay.
we do. We somehow managed to beat them somehow. And one of the guys that I work with on SMA, Nick's a diehard Green Bay fan, and I was like, yeah, you guys are gonna just gift it a win. He was like, I'm not sure. Things are not working right. There
All
we
right,
go. Let's
there
see.
we go. Let's see. This is my album on my Facebook, but oh, there's the man,
Let's see.
Coach Joe.
There you go. Got Joe Gibbs
Coach
in there.
Joe. Oh, there's a Deacon Jones
Oh man.
right there. I saw him in the tunnel. Oh, there's me on TV.
Yes.
We're in the 12th man flag. But yeah, that was kind of our gig. Like I was the captain of the flag squad, so I would lead the guys out the helmet. And I got one. Actually, it's not oh, there it is. This one was in the post.
How many seasons you do this?
7.
7. Okay.
And we sucked all 7
Yeah,
seasons.
there was no joy. I went
It was
to
the
one
worst.
game a year. I would take my mom to the Dallas game, and every year we lost. I was so bitter.
Well, check this out because, like, oh, what was it? So you didn't even like.
Now I did it during the best we did was during the RG3 years.
RG3 years.
Because
yeah.
RG3.
at least we got into the playoffs, right?
Mhm, yeah.
And so
RG3, he got in and out. Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
RG,
man.
if you're not following RG3 on Twitter now, he is absolutely hilarious.
Is he?
He is no punches pulled, no holes barred. He is roasting people. I'm surprised
Really?
he's able. Oh, he is lighting people on fire, man. I was just following him like on Sunday, and he's just going to town, man. Just
So is it
and I
kind
was
of
tweeting
like
from the studio.
a whole? I don't know. He speaks his mind like Pat McAfee and stuff.
Pretty much, but it's funny. It's actually funny. He's a lot of people, especially in the DC area, with everything that went on with RG3 and the organization, everything else. When he was out of football, then he went to Browns, and he went to Baltimore. He's really redeemed himself in terms of like he's on NFL Countdown and doing a great job as an analyst. He posts a lot of content with his wife and everything, and he seems to be a lot more happier now.
Yeah.
Wisdom as you look back and you think about what happened and the way things went down, and he just, I guess he just chalks it up to learning and a young man's gambit, and is appreciative of what he has now. So it's really cool to see that, from his perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington holds a place in my heart because y'all have my old coach.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Man, he
You start.
dude, Panthers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Washington's a hard team to love. I have a son, he's 22, and he goes to school at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh. And he's right on Carson Street. Like the stadium is 2 blocks down, and he is hardcore Redskins. He's always got the jerseys on. He's got the banners. He's got the stuff hanging outside his door. Walks into a bar. He's the only guy in burgundy and gold. And God bless him. I mean, because he's got to be a fan because of me. Because I'm thinking, like, in 22 years, in his entire lifetime, he has never seen a good skins team.
Exactly. It's
He's
just
only-
always, as far as you know, it's always been like this.
He's only a fan because of me.
Well, in that same line, he's never seen a good Cowboys team either.
Aha.
That's
what
true.
I always
That's
bring
true.
up.
That's true.
That just like that meme that went around, like you tell Dallas fans that well, you guys have won so many playoff games, and it's one more than it actually is, and
It's
they actually have to
4
correct
in
you.
25.
Like, you guys won 5 playoff games. They're like, actually,
Oh
we
yeah,
won
5.
4.
It moved up one. Okay.
But still, they have to correct you because the number in the meme is wrong, which is absolutely hilarious to make them correct you. All right, you gonna get in this shot? I have 3 Jack Russells, and I have one in the room with me. She loves shadows, so whenever I do this, because I'm a light.
So is your name Cody or is it Dean?
Oh, Cody is my real name. Dean is just a nickname.
Okay, you got it.
We'll go with
You guys don't have any
Go with
nicknames
Dean.
besides X and
Con.
Con and X.
man, I played you. I played you as Con. Yes, you had shirtless Con. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? Hey, that reminds me. There we go. And there you go.
And I have the other box.
Oh, guys, save it. Come on, let's come
Hey,
on.
we're not gonna leave. We came prepared. We
came
were
prepared.
prepped.
I got some swag to show
Oh,
you.
I got a little bit of something. I mean,
I pulled it all out.
Yeah.
Are you not gonna ruin this podcast? Do you want to be on camera? Come on. Okay, that's the way you need. You tell Liquor Man she'll run away. That's good.
Yeah. So Dean, your gig is you kind of play video games with your son, yeah?
Well, that's the thing and everything. It's like me and my son. I've always said when I had my own little one, I played games with him, and he likes games. But
Man, that's awesome.
yeah, and it really is. And the whole thing, the whole shtick is, just playing with your kids on video games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the hidden message. Whether it's me beating him and him like being upset, I still spent time with my kid. So
Yep,
that's
absolutely.
it. And we're trying to play like every fighting game known to man, and you guys were on the list. So
This is perfect.
So I have Orange Pi, which has got, I don't know, 14,000 games on it.
oh,
Emulators.
you got a Retro Pi, Raspberry Pi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have one of the. Okay, go ahead.
And I introduced. So my youngest son is 10, and we were playing like Mortal Kombat, and then we went to Atari. We were playing Pitfall and Gyrus and all the classics. And he was hooked on Street Fighter, obviously, right? How many hours have you burned on Street Fighter? And I mean, I love playing with the little guy too. And we were playing. Let's see, for his birthday.
This is the little guy that's now 22, right?
No. This is my youngest. He's 10 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, same age.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's 10 too. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. He got on his Switch. He got Super Smash Brothers, Smash Brothers Pro or whatever. And I was like, oh, I played this game and I schooled that kid.
You
No
did?
mercy.
Oh man,
No
it's
mercy.
changed. That's
No
a big
mercy.
old fighting roster.
No mercy. It is. I played Donkey Kong.
Yes,
I was
that's my
Donkey Kong.
go-to. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But it's great because the thing is, it's like, it's all in the game and all in the fingers, right? Because their games, he crushes me,
Yeah,
right?
a lot of buttons.
You get me Street Fighter or Smash Brothers, and I got him.
Man, my kid hates Street Fighter.
I'm gonna
Hates
remove
it.
this toy from the dog so she doesn't squeak and interrupt things. So,
Alrighty. Yeah, Francis, I wish I got a lot more on you and stuff. I mean, got you as martial arts choreographer and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've so I mean, my whole history is martial arts.
Hold on, Francis. Let's get into the interview and everything like that because this is actually one of the questions and stuff like that. So
okay,
we'll just chit chat it, let it flow, whatever.
okay, that's cool.
Okay. Let me take a sip.
All right, so don't forget to record.
It's been recording. We're good.
Oh, okay, perfect, good.
Oh, okay.
Good, 'cause
We're
I've
good.
Made that mistake. I have made that mistake before.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The red dot's on. It's good.
Okay, so those would be my answers.
My favorite has always been.
Hold up.
We lost the camera. We lost Dean.
Oh, the camera.
This is where you got to get that Geordie moment. Like, all right, we got to. I don't understand what's happening. Maybe we could direct power from the shields. We can get it back.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh, it gets full out.
It's zoomed out.
Yes. Oh.
All I heard was it was good, but it was corny.
What? Oh boy.
So let's see. If I would say, I'd say it's you've seen rock movies involving The Rock, and actually, it is a good action movie. It's funny because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is gonna help the DC expanded universe." I'm like, I hope it does because
Yeah,
you can always
need some help.
yeah, it needs a little help, and they just put James Gunn in that position today. He's gonna be kind of like their version of Kevin Feige on the DC side. So let's
Him and another guy. I forget the other guy's name.
Yeah, I forget the other guy. Yeah, the co-CEOs or whatever it's called.
Yeah. James Gunn. Oh man, have you seen Peacemaker?
Let me tell you, man, I looked at Peacemaker and I laughed at myself so silly. That series
Cena surprised me on that one.
Years. Cena became a much bigger fan of Cena after that.
Yeah.
He played that perfect, man. And from what I understand, a lot of times when they were just ad-libbing, he had an earpiece in and James Gunn would just feed him lines. And Cena he would just parrot whatever he said. And they were like, "Oh, this one hit. Let's use this." So it's absolutely. I mean, just that small group of people that he had, so funny, so good.
What did he call old boy Diebeard?
Yeah. He said, "Yeah, but I don't dye my beard every time."
Yeah.
He was merciless.
Right.
I'll give him that. Totally took me by surprise, man. If you'd have told me John Cena would be in a very likable comic book character, and I'm like, nah, I just don't see it. It's probably not going to happen. But totally proved me wrong.